Okay, so you want to own a septic pumping company. Buy a truck with a tank on the back, drive to somebody's house, stick a hose in the ground, and pump out the one thing every single person on earth produces and nobody ever wants to think about. It's disgusting. It's smelly. Nobody brags about it at parties. And that is exactly why it might be one of the most quietly profitable businesses in America. Because while everyone else is fighting over the glamorous industries, the septic guy is out in the country, servicing the same tanks every 3 years, charging $400 a visit, with almost nobody willing to compete with him. Over 60 million Americans depend on septic systems. Every one of those tanks fills up, and when it does, there is no app for that. Somebody has to come pump it. Sounds simple. It is not simple, because the thing that makes this business so profitable, the fact that nobody wants to do it, is the same thing that makes it brutal to actually run. The truck costs a fortune. The dump charges you by the gallon for what you collect. And the difference between an owner clearing a comfortable 6 figures and one who burns out in 18 months comes down to a few numbers most people never stop to calculate. The tank isn't the business, the route is the business. So let's open the books. Before you make a single dollar, you have to survive getting in. And in septic, the price of the door swings wildly depending on how big you want to start. At the bottom, there's a used vacuum truck, an older rig with a 1,000-gallon tank. You can find one for $30,000, sometimes a little less. That's your entry ticket, and it's cheap compared to what's coming. Move up to a new, fully equipped pumper, a 2,500 to 3,600-gallon aluminum tank, a high-performance vacuum pump pulling 600 cubic feet per minute, and you're looking at $150,000 to $225,000 for one truck. Add a high-pressure jetter for cleaning lines, and that's another $20,000 to $50,000 on top. Why does the tank size matter so much? Because it decides how many houses you can service before you have to stop and drive to the dump. A small tank means you pump 2 or 3 houses and you're full, forcing a long drive to the disposal site and back before you can earn another dollar. A big tank means you service 6 houses on one loop and dump once. The truck isn't just equipment. The truck's capacity literally sets the ceiling on how much money you can make in a day. And most operators finance it, which means the day the loan arrives is the day the payment starts, not the day you land your first customer. Then come the things nobody warns you about. In most states, you need a commercial driver's license just to operate the truck. You need a state wastewater or septage hauler permit. You need liability insurance, which runs anywhere from $2,000 to $15,000 a year. And you need a legal approved place to dump what you collect, a treatment plant that will accept septage and charge you every single time. So before you pump one tank, you've committed 6 figures of equipment, a monthly payment, and a stack of permits. You inherit the overhead before you inherit a single customer. That's the cost to exist. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because the way a septic company actually makes money is layered in a way most people never see. The first and most obvious layer is the residential pump out. The bread and butter. The national average cost to pump a septic tank runs somewhere between $300 and $550, with most jobs landing right around $400. A single job takes 1 to 2 hours. A medium truck running an efficient route can knock out 4 to 6 of those in a day. Do that math, and one truck, on a good day, is generating well over $2,000 in revenue. That's the number that gets people into this business. But that number hides the same trap that haunts every truck-based business: the disposal cost. Everything you pump out of that tank, you have to pay to get rid of. Septage disposal runs anywhere from 5 cents to 14 cents per gallon at the treatment plant. A 1,000-gallon tank pumped out and dumped isn't free money. A real slice of that $400 ticket goes straight back out the moment you empty the truck. Read that again, because it's the whole game. You get paid to fill the truck, and then you pay to empty it. The operators who win are the ones who price the dump fee, the drive, and the fuel into every single job before the hose ever hit the ground. The second layer is where the real magic of this business hides, and it's the thing almost nobody thinks about: recurring, route-based revenue. A septic tank has to be pumped every 2 to 4 years. That means every single customer you service today is a customer who will need you again, automatically, on a predictable clock. Build a database of a few thousand households, and you're no longer chasing one-off jobs. You're managing a route that refills itself on a timer. This is why the smart operators obsess over one number above all others: route density. How many jobs can you cluster into one loop, close together, minimizing the empty miles between them? A truck doing 6 jobs in one tight neighborhood, dumping once, is a money machine. The same truck driving 40 minutes between scattered jobs across a whole county is quietly losing money on fuel and time. Route density isn't a detail in this business. It's the difference between profit and exhaustion. The third layer is the high-dollar add-on. Pumping is the recurring income. The big paydays come from what you stack on top. Tank inspections when a house is being sold. Line jetting when a system backs up. Grease trap cleaning for every restaurant in your area on a scheduled contract. And at the top of the ladder, full system repairs and replacements, because a failed septic system can cost a homeowner over $10,000, and the company that already services the tank is the one who gets that call. The operator who only pumps is running the thinnest version of this business. The one who pumps, inspects, jets, services grease traps, and does repairs is running 5 businesses off one truck. Now, here's the other side of the ledger, because for every one of those layers, there's a cost structure underneath that decides whether you keep any of it. The cruelest fact of this business is that the truck costs you money whether it's pumping or parked. The loan payment is due in a slow week. The insurance runs on a day with 0 calls. And a septic truck is a heavy, specialized machine. When it breaks down, and it will, the repair bills are severe. And while it's in the shop, you have 0 capacity and 0 revenue while every fixed cost keeps running. The industry's margins tell the story. A well-run septic operation nets somewhere between 20 and 30%, but a poorly routed one, eating disposal fees and dead miles, can struggle to clear 5. Same truck, same tank, 2 completely different businesses. And here's the counterintuitive part that decides everything. This business is profitable precisely because it's disgusting. The stigma that keeps everyone else out is the moat that protects your margins. The septic industry is famously underserved and unsophisticated when it comes to marketing. Most operators are older, don't advertise, and barely have a website, which means the barrier to entry isn't money or skill. It's willingness. The person who's willing to do the dirty, unglamorous work and run it like a real business. Tight routes, priced-in disposal, recurring contracts, a few ads, walks into a market where the competition isn't really competing. The smell is the reason the money is there. To understand how this plays out, it helps to watch the 2 versions of this business happen to the same kind of operator, because both are everywhere, and the line between them is thin. Picture the operator who does it right. He starts with one used truck he can actually afford. He drives it himself in the beginning to save the wage. He builds a customer database from day one, logging every tank he pumps and when it'll need service again. So in 3 years, Those customers call themselves back. He clusters his jobs tight, services 6 houses on one loop, and dumps once. He adds grease trap contracts with local restaurants to fill the slow days with recurring money. When a customer's system fails, he's the one who gets the repair call, and that one job pays like 10 pump outs. Within a couple of years, he's got a second truck, a driver, a route that refills itself, and a reputation as the guy who actually answers the phone. He built an asset. Now, picture the other operator. Same truck, same start. He takes every job that calls no matter how far, so half his day is spent driving empty miles across the county. He never builds a database, so every job is a one-off, and he's always hunting for the next one instead of letting the route refill itself. He never adds inspections or grease traps or repairs. He just pumps. He underprices because he's scared to lose the job and forgets to factor in the dump fee. So some jobs barely break even after disposal and fuel. When his truck needs a major repair, $4,000 unplanned, it comes straight out of cash he doesn't have. He is working himself to exhaustion, pumping tanks every day and barely staying above water. Same industry, same truck. Opposite ending. The difference was never the willingness to do the dirty work. It was the database, the route density, the priced-in disposal, and the services stacked on top. And this business is changing under everyone's feet. The septic industry generates billions a year and grows steadily, driven by the simple fact that 60 million Americans aren't getting off septic anytime soon, which means the same thing that hit every other unglamorous local service is coming here too. Consolidation. Private equity has figured out that a boring septic company with a dense route and a recurring customer base throws off stable, recession-proof cash flow. And they're quietly buying up the aging owner-operators who are ready to retire and have no one to sell to. The single truck owner is increasingly competing against consolidated fleets with routing software and negotiated disposal rates. But the demand isn't going anywhere. Tanks will always fill. The operators who win the next decade are the ones who understand this was never a business about pumping waste. It's a route density and recurring revenue business wearing a vacuum truck as a costume. So, does owning a septic pumping company actually work? The honest answer is that the gap between the good version and the bad version is enormous. And it's the same truck in both. In the good year, you've got a dense route of a few thousand households that refill themselves on a 2 to 4 year clock. Your disposal costs are priced into every job. You service 6 houses per loop and dump once. Grease trap contracts fill your slow days, and the occasional system replacement pays like a small fortune. The truck is paid down. The stigma keeps competitors away, and your phone rings with customers who have nowhere else to call. That's the operator who turns a smelly truck into a genuine local cash machine, the kind of quiet, unglamorous business that makes millionaires nobody ever notices, precisely because nobody wants to look. In the bad year, your routes are scattered, and every job costs you an hour of empty driving. You forgot to price in the disposal fee, so your margin evaporates at the dump gate. Your one truck breaks down, and your entire capacity goes to zero while the payment keeps coming. You never built the database, so you're still hunting one-off jobs 3 years in. Same truck, same tank. A completely different business, because the money in septic was never in the pumping. It was in the route. Here's the thing to understand before you ever buy the truck. The people who get rich in this business aren't the ones who don't mind the smell. They're the ones who understood before they spent $1 that the tank was never the asset. The route is the asset. The recurring database is the asset. The stigma that scares everyone else off is the asset. The truck is just the thing that turns other people's worst day into your best business. The hose gets you the job, the route gets you the money, and the operator who knows the difference is the only one still in business when the truck across town gets parked for the last time.